everybody, and welcome back once again to Let's Play Motorsport Manager with the Phoenix Knights Racing Team. Yes indeed, we're here again. It's the Black Sea in Russia. It's race number 5. Can we go one step further and hit the podium? It's highly unlikely, but it's not impossible. We can live in hope. Right, before we dive into today's race weekend, there's a few things I want to go through, and it's going to take a little bit of time, so this is going to be a slightly longer session than normal, but I'm sure you won't mind a change of pace. First of all, I will update you with the usual things, which is the car. Engine is almost ready, which means that we're with the second engine for next season, and we're going to change our focus onto the gearbox. In terms of the actual parts that we have been improving the reliability of, well, there's only 6 parts left. So we rear wing suspension and brakes. The engine, the front wing and the gearbox are maxed out. So in a couple of races time we will have max reliability and pretty much max performance as well. So there will be happy days. We will have reached the ceiling. Now where will that ceiling take us? Hopefully to 4th in the Constructors. Our headquarters, we finally have it. We finally have our brakes R&D facility, so we can use Epic components because we need it. Our brakes are pretty shabby, but we're not ready to develop our brakes just yet. So the staff are just designing, they're just planning, they're just measuring, just getting them ready, getting themselves ready for when we put the staff into the building to start the designing and the building of the damn things. Then we can go. But for now, it's just the preparation work that's taking place. Alright, so that's the car, that's the headquarters. So what I plan to do to start things off here is I plan to go through some drivers. Yes, the drivers. We're going to be racing against Windsor and Kitano. They're going to be our rivals. They are our rivals. We're battling them for 4th place in the Constructors, and therefore we're going to be tripping over their drivers, tripping over their cars on a regular basis. So I thought we should take a look at their drivers in more detail so we know who we're racing against, and also if there's any potential weaknesses or chinks in their armour that we could exploit, because every point counts, and if we can exploit a weakness somehow and get one over on them, that could just give us a slight edge when the time is right. So we're going to do that. But before we even do that, scouting. We're going to be replacing Sundin very shortly, and I noticed that there was a fair few people on large contracts, which means they should be good drivers, who I haven't scouted yet. So I'm scouting a whole host of new drivers, all of which who are asking for a lot of money per race, but ultimately they're probably going to be pretty good. And if some of them are actually paid drivers as well, that would offset some of that cost. So we are scouting out several new drivers whilst we await the finalisation of our scouting facility to give us even more people to scout. Then we turn to our own drivers, because both of them have picked up a trait in the past couple of races. Sirikov picked up one 2 races ago, and Sundin picked up one after the last race. So I thought I'd just take you through that. Now you can see his stats. He's a damn good driver, isn't he? No weaknesses there, really. Apart from his marketability. If it was higher, we'd have 5-star sponsors. Can't you turn into Valdez and start being a diva, release an album, write a book, change your hairstyle? That would be really helpful. Other than that, he's a nice guy. He's spoilt. He's a paid driver. He's a club goer. We actually did an interview after the last race, and we got asked about Balcazar. Would we like to welcome Balcazar to our team? Balcazar, of course, being the Scuderia Rossini driver. And we said no, we're happy with our drivers, to which Sirikov was rather impressed with Potter's response, which means that he's open to discussing terms with us. So when we want to extend his contract, he's going to be more open to accepting it. So that's going to be pretty helpful. All Potter's silver tongue working wonders. But this is the one he picked up a couple of races ago. Is it linked to his improvement of form? Who knows? but he's become religious. The Church of Surikov. He's found God. He's found something, giving him extra focus and extra morale, but it's only for 13 weeks. So after 13 weeks, perhaps he will realise that religion is not all it's cracked up to be. Who knows? But that's good old Surikov. And as for Sundin, who is slightly falling away now due to old age, she's decided to turn her old age, I hate calling it old age because she's younger than me, so it's not old age, it's just, you know, in terms of racing, she's a little bit older than some of the young bloods, you know. But anyway, she's turning that experience, yes, to good use, because she's decided to become a mentor, which helps her teammate improve faster. Now, Surikov is improving. He is still improving. He's young. And Sundin has decided to take her experience and impart her knowledge onto Surikov, working together. I like that. Very good job, Sundin. So she's just basically explaining to him about how to drive with a calm demeanour. She's got great focus. She's Scandinavian, very cool, ice cool under pressure, all that kind of stuff. She's imparting that knowledge onto Surikov. Combine that with his newfound religion, whew, he could be a dangerous man. He'd be meditating after every damn session, won't he? Anyway, so that's our two drivers. They picked up a trait very recently, but other than that, they haven't picked up any traits, which is why I haven't run through them recently. Valdez was one of a kind. He was picking up traits all the time. All of them were quite good traits for his personality. He changed his hairstyle. I mean, goodness gracious, he was a great driver for marketability. He was a driver everyone loved to hate, really. But speaking of good old Valdez, let's check in with him, shall we? Here he is. He's now driving for Ozu Motor Team. He is actually driving, he's not a reserve driver, and he is 5th in the championship with only 9 points. Looks like you've not got a car as good as Phoenix Knights give you. So there he is, still selfish, still spoiled, still hates team orders, and still has that god-awful hairstyle. But other than that, he's the same old Valdez. We ain't bringing him back, that's for sure. Could bring him back as a reserve driver, I suppose, for a laugh. If ever we're rolling in cash, I want to pay him 400 grand to just do some practice laps. So there he is. Okay, so that's our drivers sorted. That's Valdez sorted. What about the drivers that I was going to go into more detail with, which is Kitano's drivers and Windsor Racing? So we'll start with Windsor. They've got two. Veracruz and Lipponen. We know this man. He used to drive for Scuderia Rossini. He seems to have dropped down to a slightly slower car for whatever reason. He's not bad. I mean, he's good, really. He's got some very good traits, good feedback, consistency and smoothness. Focus is not too bad. His fitness is a bit low. Braking and cornering kind of average for this level. He's got a famous father and is an endurance champion. But I was talking about exploiting weaknesses. Here he is. Here's Veracruz. What's his weakness? Fitness. And fitness means that he will be... This affects the second half of the race. So in the second half of the race, his lap times should drop off as he begins to get tired. Opportunity for our drivers to push in the second half of the race, to put him under pressure, to bear down on him when he's tired. That could be a weakness to exploit. So Veracruz, low fitness. Other than that, not much really that we can focus on there. Their main driver, their faster driver, is Lipponen. He's 31. He's almost 5-star, and look at those stats. Can't see anything to exploit there. Marketability is not marvellous, but he's fearless. He's got lightning reactions, although he struggles under pressure, but that's only when it comes to sponsorship objectives, which we will never find out because he's not in our team. Having a secret affair, which ends in a week's time. Maybe he's had enough. And he's a successful designer of clothes. Can't you teach Surikov this trick? Yeah? No? We need him to do something marketable. Yeah. He is media shy, which is sort of counteracting his designer trait. But yeah, not a lot of chinks in his armour. So he's going to be a tough nut to crack. Faster car than us and decent driver. But so far, we're not doing too badly. So that's Lipponen and Veracruz for Windsor Racing. So when we move on to Catano then, who are currently below us. Long may it continue. We'll start with De Wolf, who is their slower driver. He's not bad. Focus is a little bit wanting, but other than that, he's still pretty damn good. He's a scaredy cat, which means he loses a bit of braking and overtaking, but they're still pretty decent. His adaptability is his weakest trait. And what this is if he moves to a new team, adaptability is how quickly he adjusts to the new surroundings. Fine. But what it also is its adaptability to weather conditions. So if it's a damp track, if it starts to rain, if the track is drying, if there's those changeable conditions, it just takes him a little bit longer to get used to them. That could be something to exploit with him in interchangeable weather conditions. That's De Wolf. And their better driver, who we've had a couple of run-ins with already, is De Graaf. He's from, is that Holland? He's from Holland, the Netherlands. He's pretty decent. Feedback's not great, but well, that only affects practice. So he's a tough cookie and a tough nut to crack. He hates team orders. He's a dangerous jeweller, which only applies when there's exactly one other car within 1 second of us, of him on the track. Sorry, he loses a bit of consistency and loses a bit of focus. Kind of gets into a tunnel vision type situation, which is kind of interesting. Don't know if that would be exploitable, but it's something worth bearing in mind. He has a rivalry with Piaget, who's the reserve driver for Windsor, so you shouldn't really come across her very often. But he's a timesheet hero, which means that his practice and qualifying laps will be a darn sight quicker than normal, because he gets +2 to all of his stats in practice and in qualifying. So he's a dangerous qualifier. Very good over a single lap. Very good when it comes to pitting himself against the clock. So that's De Graaf. Decent driver. So out of Catano and Windsor, there's a couple of drivers in each of those teams that we can target. But the other two, Lipponen and De Graaf, I can't see many chinks in their armour. So we're just going to have to outperform them. That's all we can do. So there you go. I thought I'd just give you a quick heads up there about some of the drivers that we're going to be battling with, our drivers, and of course our previous driver, Valdez. I just noticed this, I forgot to tell you, yeah, obviously she picked up this rivalry with Sirikov at the back end of last season, I think. Kind of weird, isn't it? She's a rival with him, which suggests that she doesn't like him, yet she's mentoring him. Perhaps their rivalry is just waning away a little bit. But yeah, strange. Strange kind of double negative type occasion. Anyway, so there you go. So that's taken, what, about 15 minutes, I think? Possibly? Yeah. I make no apologies. Just thought we'd go through something a little bit different to start today's session off. Anyway, it's time to race. It's the Black Sea. There's going to be rain potentially. There's 20 laps, but the tyre wear is very high, which means that it's going to be interesting to see what tyres we use, because I somehow don't think the softs are going to be viable at all. But we'll play it by ear. This is what we always do. 400 for 10th or above. Yes, we finished 4th, but I don't really think it's feasible for us to qualify 4th or above, so we'd only be limiting ourselves to half anyway. Tyre selection. This is where it gets interesting. I don't think the softs are going to be viable in the race. Although, technically speaking, if it does rain, it might make them viable. But I'm thinking the medium tyre is the race tyre. So we're going to go. I also think that hards will be pretty decent as well if it doesn't rain, because this isn't forced to be right. But we'll give Surikov one extra set of softs just because he does have that extra smoothness. Okay. See you for qualifying. Alright, so practice went relatively well. Another wet dry affair. Scuderia Rossini looking well ahead in practice. Is that so? Well, it looks like qualifying has got a touch of rain involved, which means that we will be taking it. So this session may end up being a long one with the pre-race driver analysis and a qualifying session as well as the race. Enjoy it, is all I can say. Right, what we did is we didn't get max soft tyre performance because we're going to have to use mediums in the race potentially, so I wanted to get at least a little bit of medium tyre performance. So I got 10% soft tyre performance with 5% medium. We maxed out intermediates because of the fact that most of the session was wet. However, this session is going to dry. But for how long is the question? We shall wait and see. Is it going to get dry and stay dry? Is it going to dry and then get wet again? Is it going to be... I don't know. It makes a difference because what do? Do we go for the intermediate tyre performance? Or do we go for soft tyres? Inspect it. I'm going to go for soft and hope that it gets dry. We could split the difference. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to split the difference. Because Sundin is not the better qualifier, I'm going to take the risk with her that it might not get dry enough and therefore give her intermediate tyres. And we're going to bank on it for Surikov, who's a better qualifier, that it is going to get dry and give him the soft. So we're kind of hedging our bets and splitting the strategies. For the time being, it is intermediate weather, but we're not going out, so it makes no difference. So we'll just dive into qualifying and see where it takes us. But as you can see, in terms of weight stripping now, we can weight strip absolutely marvellously. 285 performance points across the car. This is our biggest performance boost from weight stripping ever. Will it be enough to take us even further up the grid? Right, we're going to skip forward a little bit in 12 speed and just keep an eye on the weather forecast. It's looking like it's going to actually get really dry, which means that Sundin has been screwed because she doesn't have the extra tyre performance, unfortunately. Which is a little bit unfortunate, but we took the risk. We did take the risk. Right, okay. People are doing their in-laps now and stuff, so I think if we go out now, is the track going to get grippy enough? Or should we wait a little bit longer? No, I want two stints, so to get two stints we're going to have to go now, pretty much. So, Sundin is going out. She's going to use the soft tyres, of course. Surikov will use the soft tyres as well. And we will just hope and pray that we find a nice gap on the track to do a decent lap. So we're pretty much going to do a lap now, come straight in, change the tyres and do another lap straight after. Near enough. That will be the order of the day. So we will keep an eye on Surikov for the first flying lap, and then we'll keep an eye on Sundin for the second. We'll kind of split the two cars and give them both a bit of air time. So Surikov has a Thornton behind him. The Thornton of, I cannot see. because we're blocked off by this bloody screen here, which you can't minimise, I don't think. But oh, and he's just let him past. Why have you done that? Do not let him pass you going onto your hot lap. Here he comes. Right, he's got perfect brake temps and good tyre temps, so he's got a clear track ahead of him also. He's on his flying lap, and he should pull away now because he's on his flying lap and we're in a faster car, so we're expecting him to pull away. Sundin will get temporary pole position because she's the first driver to set a dry time. But it won't last long, I can assure you. So Sirikov is already faster than Sundin in the first sector. Sundin, he's 2/10 faster than Sundin in the so far. He's obviously going to get a faster time unless he really botches the final sector, which he doesn't do. So he's in a provisional pole position, but rather worryingly, Zoe Sharp in a Thornton is only 2/10 slower. So these times aren't marvellous. But it was set on a track that has just dried out and the grip levels aren't marvellous. So we're going to come in, change the tyres and go again. There you go, there's Dorster in a Risotto Corsa going faster than Sundin. They're not going faster than Sirikov, but they're going faster than Sundin. Which is kind of frustrating, because mind you, it's only a tenth slower, just over, well, almost 2, so it's not too bad. Not too bad, right. So it takes 1 minute 13 to do a lap, so if we go out with 2 minutes left, we should be able to get out the pits and do a lap. So just give it a little bit longer. Wait till the death. Wait till the death. The track grip isn't really improving at all. I don't want to leave it too late, so we'll take Sirikov out, do another flying lap on the soft tyres. There we go, let's give it Sundin. Sundin's only got 2 sets of tyres, soft tyres to use in the race, but we're expecting her to use mediums anyway, so not a problem. So, look at that! Blanc in a Thornton is on provisional pole. What's that all about? What is that all about? So we're going to follow Sundin for the second lap. See if she can improve on her time. The track grip is a little bit better. The car that's just got ahead of her, can't see who it is. It's Sylvander. And is he on a hot lap or an in lap? I think he's on a hot lap. Which means he'll be on an in lap and we're on a hot lap, which is not ideal. But hopefully he'll keep his pace up and won't get in our way. Right, she's got cold brakes but perfect tyres, and she's just let a flipping another car past her. This is going to slow her down. This is going to hamper her time. It's a Scuderia Rossini. Not what you need when you're on a flying lap. 4/10 slower already. Sirikov is going faster than his first time. It's faster in the second sector. Sundin is faster in her first sector. So these are better laps for both our drivers, but is it going to be enough? 1.2 seconds. Whereas Sirikov is in 12th. Sundin is in 11th. Holy moly, how did she do that? How did she do that? I do not know. She didn't have the bonus for soft tyres. And she's usually not the better qualifier. But somehow she's managed to edge out her teammate here. Rather disappointingly though, none of us got into the top 10, which is locked out by the usual contenders. Balcazar getting, is that a third pole in a row for him now? He's beginning, is it a he or a she? I need to check this driver out before the next session. And Frieda Fischer, Pascal Becker, Espinoza. So once again the old top 4 lockout with the top 2 teams. Chapman in 5th with Lipponen qualifying in 6th, Sylvander 7th, Veracruz in 8th, and De Graaf and De Wolf rounding out the top 10. Sundin there in 11th. Good qualifying from her. Surikov disappointing. He feels he probably should have got into the top 10. And look at that. Samuel Blanc in the Thornton driving out of his skin. 12th position. Lofty heights for the worst car on the grid. Now, there was rain predicted today. Is it going to materialise? And if so, when? Lap 10. So, that's interesting because we can't do 10 laps. Our fuel tank won't allow it. Our fuel tank will allow us to do 8 laps, which is as far as we can go before it starts to rain. So, whoa, this is interesting. So, do we go out and do 8 laps, cruising round, and come in lap 8 and put the inters on early? Or do we... It makes no sense to do 2 stops. It makes no sense to do 2 stops. We've got to stretch. We've got to stretch this first stint. We've got to be careful as well for snacking drivers. Okay, so tyre choice. Well, we need them to do as long as possible, and even the medium tyres actually might be a struggle. Let's have a look at the track temperature. It's hot, so we shouldn't have trouble keeping the heat in them, so that should be okay. We shouldn't have to push them too hard. This is close. This is going to be close for Sundin, but I think if anything, we'll probably have to bring her in early on lap 7. This is going to be awkward. Right, so we'll start her off on the mediums and full fuel. In terms of the bonus that we give her. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. Easily done, of course. I'm easily confused. In terms of her bonuses, of course, race trim is a no-brainer. But what do we bank on now? Do we bank on her using a set of soft tyres at the end of the race? Do we bank on her having to use the medium tyres for the first 8 laps? Do we bank on it being wet for any length of time and therefore giving her intermediate tyres? Choices. I'm going to once again take the risk with Sundin. It kind of paid off in qualifying in a strange kind of way, didn't it? She didn't utilise her intermediate tyre bonus, but she still qualified higher up the field. So we'll go with the same theme with Sundin, and she's relying on it being intermediate from the sort of 10th lap onwards for a decent period of time. For Surikov, I'm going to go completely the opposite. We're going to go race trim, and then what tyre? There's no way you can make a set of softs last that long. It's going to have to be mediums. It's going to have to be fully fueled. So, on that proviso, we're going to go the opposite for Surikov, and he's going to maximise his time on the medium tyre with a 5% performance increase. Right, after Sundin's mishap in Tondela, we're going to just have her push and not go too aggressive off the line, just until she gets a bit of confidence back. Okay, so the strategies are done. Both drivers are going to extend as long as possible. So whenever their tyres cry up they've had enough, or whenever the fuel situation is that we need to pit, that's when we're going to bring them in. depending on where they are on the track, we'll either risk stacking them, or if they're too close, we're going to have to bring somebody in early. Whoever's got track position at the time will get the beneficial call. There's no favouritism. It's all about who gets the track position, who will come in later and get the better strategy. As we go off the line now, and that's a pretty good start from Sirikov and not a bad start from Sundin. Let's just see if we can get round the first corner without too many mishaps. And look at that, somebody's gone wide. It looked like it was a Windsor Racing car, and it was Lipponen. One of our main drivers, one of our main rivals, has already shot himself in the head. Sundin. Now we've got to be careful with the fuel, of course. We can't push for too long because we are expecting to extend this stint for at least 8 laps, and we've only got 8 laps of fuel, so we really can't afford to push. Otherwise we're going to come in far too early. So although it looks like we're going to be going slow and everybody else is pushing, this is all going to be beneficial in the long run, hopefully. As now Sirikov and Sundin are side by side, fighting it out, duking it out. And she's going to have to turn the tyres down now because tyre wear is also a problem. So this is a bit of a strange situation where we can't really push, and we can't because of the fuel, and we can't really push the tyres because of the tyre wear. Perhaps with Sundin we could have actually risked going on the hard compound, and then she could have actually pushed for longer. But as it is, we are where we are, and where we are at the moment is Sirikov is in 17th place and having an absolute nightmare of a situation. He's going backwards. Lipponen is even past him, who went wide at the first corner. This is not good. This is not good at all. We're out of the points with both our cars, and should we have gone on hard compounds? These soft tyre people are going to have to come in far too early to change their tyres. So are they going to change their tyres onto a set of dries after this, or are they going to go straight onto the inters? I'm beginning to think, although we are nicely cruising around and looking to time it perfectly with the weather, if we're at the back of the pack, it's not going to really make too much difference, because we're going to be so far behind that they're going to have a pit stop in hand. And it doesn't look like it's actually going to stay wet for any length of time. This is where the next level of forecasting centre would come in pretty handily. I don't even think it's worth changing into inters, which means if it doesn't warrant changing onto inters, we're in big trouble. We are in big trouble. We were relying on us changing onto... Oh, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Look how it's not even going to rain for any length of time. Right, this is a change of strategy now. We're going to have to absolutely get ourselves moving now. This is a change of plan. It's not going to, unless it starts to spike in the weather around about lap 16. We need to start making some forward moves here, because the weather is not played ball with us. It's completely thrown us off. We've been cruising around when we could have been pushing, and now we're in big trouble. We are in big trouble. So much so that we're actually going to really push our cars to the limits now. I'm almost considering also bringing these guys in early and trying to get some undercuts going on. We have been absolutely screwed over with this weather. We thought it was going to rain for a decent amount of time. It's transpired that it's not going to rain for any length of time, and now we are in big trouble. Oh boy. Boy. We're in even more trouble now because we should have brought one of these cars in to pit now. Neither car has enough fuel to do 2 laps, and therefore we're going to have to stack them unless Sirikov can save fuel. Plus his tyres won't let him do 2 laps. We're completely, pardon the phrase, we're buggered. We're absolutely buggered here. This race has been butchered. Massively butchered. Right. I'll bring Sundin in. Another medium stint. Fill her up and do 7 laps. That's all we can do. Jesus. Oh, we've absolutely butchered this race. He's going to have to go around again, and the tyre wear is so bad that he's going to end up driving around on rims. And he might not even have enough fuel. Although I think fuel burn on this was very low, so he should be able to eke back that lost fuel. Hopefully. Oh boy, this is painful to watch. This is painful to watch. Ooh, he's barely going to get round. Barely going to make it. Right, we're going to go and have a soft stint here. A 6-lap soft stint to try and eke back some time. Just absolutely put the hammer down for the very fast middle stint and hope for some minor miracle to occur. Oh, it's starting to rain again. It's only a light shower though. Oh, is it? Is it? I don't... Oh, what the flipping hell? What the flipping hellfire is happening? I thought we didn't need another forecast centre. I thought actually we can see quite far enough to make decent plans, and this is absolutely messing with my head. Right, so Sundin's come out now. She has got medium tyres, fresh tyres, and she's fueled up to do at least 7 laps, which will take us to lap 15, which is where the actual rain starts again. So before we start pushing too madly, we need to be able to see whether or not it actually, at the back end of the race, does it stay wet for the entirety of the race? Because around about lap 15 we'll come in and change to inters. It is raining for the entirety of the back end of this race. Right, so Sundin is up into 15th. We've got people on inters already, but I don't think inters, although when it does rain they will be the better tyre, I think these tyres should be fine. Right, what are we doing? What are we doing? We need to go for another 6 laps, don't we? Lap 15, starting to rain again. He can do 7 laps, 6 laps on these tyres, which takes him round about the same lap as her. Right, I'm going to turn his engine up, put him on push, no, put him on neutral because it is hot weather. The tyres are heating quite quickly. We are making forward moves and we're not massively away from the point, so it's not all lost. It is starting to rain, which is an issue. Not many people are on inters though. Although Dosta behind us is on inters, which is interesting. Right, so she's got 6 laps of fuel. She only needs to do 5 more laps. No, she needs to do 10, yeah, 5 more, so she can afford to push a little bit. He's got plenty of fuel, so he's going to stay on push for now and push the tyres in the wet conditions. Right, can we get past this flipping Thornton? No, we're not coming in for inters. Forget that. Just keep driving. Just keep driving. Don't panic. The track is not massively wet enough for us to be overly concerned. You just have to be careful. Now, which one of the drivers was bad in interchangeable conditions? Was it Veracruz or was it... I think it might have been Veracruz who had the adaptability issues. No, it wasn't. It was De Wolf, wasn't it? I think it was De Wolf, who is slightly ahead of us. So he might be a little bit uncomfortable in these conditions, driving on dry tyres on a damp track. As we see our drivers side by side, which is rather hair-raising. Okay, so people are now pitting for inters, which is a good time to pit for inters, but are they going to be able to go to the end of the race, is the question. Oh, why have you just got stuck behind? Come on, man. Pass. Get past. Come on, Sundin. There we go. No, no, we're not going. We're not past. There's no team orders, pal. There's no team orders. I'm going to risk this. There's 8 laps remaining, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 8 laps. I wonder, how much can we get out of these inters? 8 to 10. Right, so she's buggered. I'm thinking what we do with Surikov is, because he can probably make his inters last longer, if we bring him in now and stick him on inters until the end of the race, he will be able to complete the race, his tyres will last, he'll have enough fuel, and he'll get a bit of clear track. So we're going to bring Surikov in now, switch him quickly onto inters. This is an absolutely higgledy-piggledy race. Higgledy-piggledy. Right, so he's going to go on inters, and he's going to stay on inters until the end of the race now, which should not be an issue for him. He just can't push the tyres, and he just can't push the fuel. It is going to dry out temporarily, this track, but these guys are going to have to pit anyway because their tyre wear is pretty bad. Sundin is now going to go for a... She might as well stay on these tyres now because the track is drying, so at least for the next 2 laps she needs to stay on these tyres because the track is dry. In fact, we're going to go conserve on the tyres so that they last. 2 more laps would be perfect, so no more pushing. Can the tyres last 2 laps? The tyres are probably going to last 1, and then they're going to go into the red. But if we can just get her round this track to do 1 more lap, this is the perfect conditions for her tyres. Everyone else are on inters, and the track is now drying out, so this is her time to shine. So just let these last for 1 more lap after this, and we'll be golden. We'll be golden. Everybody coming in the pits. The tyres are not too bad. 1 more lap. Right, now she comes in for her set of inters. She can actually put an extra lap of fuel in and push. Tyre choice. Right, and 6 laps. How many laps after this? 5. So there's 5 laps after the stop, so that she can go onto a set of... What am I doing? What am I doing? Wait a minute. Set of inters, not a set of flipping softs. Okay, right. Phew. Get my bearings. Right, okay, so she'll have 6 laps of fuel to do 5 laps. Is that right? Which means that she can burn the fuel, push the car for her final stint. So changing to inters, extra fuel in there to push. Yeah. Right, so one more lap. Now her tyres are red, but it's a short lap. And the track is dry, so it still suits her better than it does the intermediate guys. So she's just beginning to get a bit of a gap. Surikov is up to 14th, but we can't really do anything with him. We're going to save the engine mode for the end of the race. 65%. We're chewing through the tyres because the track is dry. Will they make it to the end? They're going to have to do. Once the track gets wet again, I think we're going to have to put him in conserve. Right, Sundin's in. Everything's going well. Just don't have an error with the refueling. There we go. She should get out well ahead of Surikov. Those dry laps have absolutely been a massive bonus for her. She's up into the damn points here. She's up into the points. Somehow, despite our atrocious start, she's up into the points and she has excess fuel to burn. And she can afford to run the tyres as well because she's got plenty of life in them. So she was on the perfect strategy, funnily enough, as it worked out. And of course, she's got the 15% bonus for intermediate tyres. Can she make it count? We have to conserve these buggers. We're going to have to conserve these buggers. I don't think they're going to last till the end of the damn race. It's a war. This is an absolute. Did we bring him in too early? Should we have done a similar strategy to Sundin with Surikov? Maybe. Kind of took the gamble to bring him in early and see the race out on the inters. It doesn't look like it's paid off. He's going to have to do another 3 laps on these tyres, and it's not looking like it's something that is going to be easy to do. So Sundin is pushing the engine. She's pushing the tyres. She's got a Panther of Sylvander right behind her. He's got fresher tyres. Oh, he's pushing his tyres very hard, in fact. Is there anyone else to pit? I don't believe so. Maybe Flores and Schmidt? Maybe? Flores and Schmidt. Some people have already done 3 stops and they are still ahead of us. That's how bad we were in the first stint of this race. If it wasn't for that, we could have done something decent. And now we're out of the points as Sylvander breezes on by, despite the fact that we are giving her the juice to push as hard as she can. Tyre temperatures, not good. Not good at all. Right, we're going to give her overtake mode now for the last couple of laps. Her tyre temperatures are hot, but bugger it. We're pushing with all our might now. A couple of people have pitted, I think, which is why we're up into 10th. Surikov is in 13th. His tyres are soon to give up the ghost. It looks like Lippanen's got car problems. Don't worry, Sundin. Just keep churning. Keep those wheels a churning. We're going to go push now. Just give it all you've got. Come on. Don't let Sylvander beat you. Come on. Come on. Come on, I've given you everything here. Poor old Surikov has got nothing left. His car's a wreck. We've given you everything. Don't let us down. Look at that. De Graaf is in 4th. Veracruz is in 3rd. Our main rivals in the constructors are having a very good race, which means we're probably going to end up in 6th position after this one. Nobody has pitted for this final lap. Looks like some of them are finished. Fisher's crossed the line. The leaders have crossed the line here. Sundin is going to pick up a solitary point. And Surikov is going to come across the line in 13th place. Oh. Well, we've had things our own way this championship so far. We've been doing really well and things have been going nice and smooth. Sometimes these things happen. You have a bad race, and this certainly was a bad race. Strategy, not the best. But the rain, it was such an awkward situation. The rain, it looked like the rain came. The rain was coming right in an awkward place. Not soon enough for us to build it into our strategy. A little bit too late, which meant we had to stretch our first stint, which meant we couldn't push from the start, which slowed us down. Should we have just gone for a 6-lap stint? And if I'd have seen the forecast as it was, because the rain only came in a light shower at lap 15, or whatever lap it was, lap 11 or whatever, the first shower that we had. That wasn't enough really for us to be overly concerned with putting our car on inters. And if I'd seen that with, say, an enhanced forecasting centre, I'd have just stuck with the normal strategy and probably done 2 soft stints, because that would have led us right nicely to round about lap 14-ish, which is where the proper rain came, and we could have gone onto inters. So the soft inter was definitely the favourable strategy. And had we seen the entire forecast of the race, we could maybe have planned for that, but we didn't have that luxury. So we were shot. But anyway, a solitary point is not to be turned down, because you never know. At the end of the season, that 1 point could make all the difference. Anyway, Fischer won in the Steinman. Balcazar came second. Veracruz was third. De Graaf was fourth. And Espinosa, Becker, Chapman having a bad race. Flores in the D'Oster getting in the points. Nice for him. Sylvander 9th and Sundin 10th. Lipponen down in 11th. Okay, so let's look at the old Drivers' Championship here. So Balcazar just moves ahead of Chapman. 1 point. Are these the two battling for the title now? Steinman, Becker and Fischer still within touching distance, but after that it's no one's even close, are they really? The old constructors, after that rather catastrophic event, Windsor Racing, they're up into 4th position. I think they were already 4th actually. Catano in 5th. They were in 6th, we were in 5th, Windsor were in 4th, I think, before this race started, and we now slipped down to 6th. So disappointing, but of course, there's a long, long way to go. We're going to have to pick up our pieces now and dust ourselves down and soldier on. Neither driver having a great race. We lost 1.2 million. And our engine is built, which is nice. So we'll start on the gearboxes then. Let's have a look at some of the news. No. Potter will maintain his no interview policy. Pit crew. We broke our previous pit stop record, 6.5 seconds. Good job. And our engine is done. Alright, so there you have it. Next race is Munich, Germany, where it's potentially going to be dry. Tyre wear is very low, yet we have the hardest compound tyres available, and we're only doing 20 laps. That screams out to me soft, soft, soft in terms of the stints, so there should hopefully be no melodramas. It's literally going to be all about the pace. So fingers crossed, we might be alright. Join me next time to see if we can pick ourselves up. Till then, see you soon.